You ever thought of how community park activities can transform your life? In the next few seconds, you'll learn why getting involved in your local park is a game changer. Community parks offer various activities ranging from yoga classes to gardening projects. These activities promote physical health, reducing stress and anxiety. Meeting new people creates a sense of belonging and boosts your mental well-being. Participating in events helps you develop new skills you never knew you had. Engage in sports to improve teamwork and leadership qualities. Volunteering opportunities allow you to give back and make a difference. Nature walks and outdoor activities connect you with the environment. These activities make your community stronger and more resilient. Curious to experience it yourself? Like what you see? Subscribe for more community tips and ideas. Hit the like button if you found this useful.
Creating a bird feeder can be a fun and rewarding project that connects you with nature and helps support local bird populations. Here is a simple guide to making your own bird feeder using common materials. First, gather your materials: a plastic bottle, a pair of scissors, a wooden spoon, some string or wire, and birdseed. Make sure the bottle is clean and dry before you begin. Step 1. Cut 2 holes. Using the scissors, cut 2 holes in the plastic bottle, each about 1 to 2 inches from the bottom. The holes should be directly opposite each other and just large enough for the handle of the wooden spoon to fit through snugly. These will be the openings through which the birds will access the birdseed. Step 2. Insert the wooden spoon. Insert the handle of the wooden spoon through one hole and out the other side. Adjust the spoon so that the bowl end protrudes from the bottle, forming a little perch where the birds can sit and eat. The spoon handle should stick out enough on both sides for stability. Step 3. Make hanging loops poke 2 small holes near the top of the bottle. Thread the string or wire through these holes to create a loop for hanging the feeder. Make sure the string or wire is secure to handle the weight of the filled feeder. Step 4. Fill with birdseed. Pour birdseed into the bottle, filling it up to the holes where the wooden spoon is inserted. Avoid overfilling to ensure the birdseed flows easily and doesn't clog. Step 5. Hang the feeder. Find a suitable spot in your garden or yard to hang the bird feeder. Choosing a location that's visible from your window can provide excellent bird watching opportunities. Ensure the spot is safe from predators and has some cover from strong winds. Regular maintenance. Check the feeder regularly to refill the birdseed and ensure it's clean. Moldy or old birdseed can be harmful to birds, so it's important to keep the feeder fresh. Enjoy watching. Once your feeder is in place and filled, enjoy watching various bird species visit for a meal. With time, you'll start recognizing regular visitors and maybe even some rare guests. Making a bird feeder is not only a delightful addition to your yard, but also a small but significant way to contribute to local wildlife conservation. Happy bird watching.
Lucas awoke to the soft light of dawn filtering through his bedroom window. The world outside was still, wrapped in that serene tranquility that comes with early morning. Today was special. He was finally going on his long-awaited fishing trip with his Grandpa Joe. He threw on his lucky blue cap, grabbed the fishing rod leaning against the wall, and tiptoed downstairs. Grandpa Joe was already sitting at the kitchen table, a steaming cup of coffee in hand, his eyes twinkling with excitement. "Ready for an adventure, kiddo?" he asked, ruffling Lucas's unkempt hair. They loaded the car and set off down the winding country roads, the landscape morphing from sleepy town to lush, unspoiled countryside. Rolling hills gave way to dense forest. And soon they reached the banks of Crystal Lake, its water gleaming like molten silver under the golden rays of the rising sun. As they set up their gear, Grandpa Joe shared stories of his own fishing exploits, each tale more thrilling than the last. Lucas listened with rapt attention, his eyes widening with each dramatic twist. He felt a deep sense of connection, like he was part of a legacy that stretched back generations. Hours passed without a single bite. Lucas began to feel the sting of disappointment. He looked up at Grandpa Joe, who flashed him a reassuring smile. "Patience, Lucas. Fishing isn't just about the catch, but the experience. Just when hope was slipping away, Lucas felt a sudden tug on his line. His heart raced as he struggled to reel it in. Grandpa Joe's hands were there, guiding him, and together they pulled out a massive, glistening fish. It was more magnificent than anything Lucas had imagined. "You did it," Grandpa Joe cheered, wrapping him in a bear hug. As they drove back home, the fish safely stowed in a bucket of water, Lucas felt a sense of triumph. The day had been about far more than fishing. It had been about bonding, stories, and learning the priceless virtue of patience.
It was the first warm weekend of spring, and barely able to contain his excitement, Max raced home from school. This was the weekend his parents had promised he could camp out in the backyard. Max lugged his small blue tent, his sleeping bag, and a flashlight out the back door, heading toward the giant oak tree that marked his favorite spot in the yard. He was an adventurous boy with an untamed mop of curly hair, a vivid imagination, and a knack for turning the mundane into the magical. As he pitched his tent, Max could hear the sounds of the neighborhood settling into their evening routines. The distant hum of a lawnmower, the bark of a dog, and the chatter of his friends playing next door created a soundtrack of suburban serenity. Evening turned to night, and with it, the sky transformed into a canvas of twinkling stars. Max zipped up his tent and lay on his back, staring at the ceiling fabric illuminated by the beam of his flashlight. "I'm a brave explorer on a jungle expedition,"
The ceiling
he whispered to
fabric
himself.
illuminated
And,
by the
oh,
beam
wait,
of his flashlight.
"I'm an astronaut on another planet." With a grin, he rolled over and grabbed his toy laser blaster from his bag, aiming it at shadows that danced on the tent walls like alien creatures. Suddenly, a rustling sound outside brought Max back to reality. He froze, clutching his blaster tighter. The rustling grew louder, and Max's heart pounded in his chest. "It's just the wind," he told himself, but the sound persisted. Mustering his courage, Max unzipped the tent flap and peeked outside. There, around the base of the oak tree, he saw movements in the bushes. It was a moment of truth. Would his adventure end in fear, or would he confront whatever was making the noise? Swallowing hard, Max crept out of the tent, his flashlight lighting the path ahead. As he approached the bushes, a small figure emerged. It was a raccoon, pawing at the ground, searching for food. Relief washed over Max, and he laughed at how frightened he had been. The raccoon took little notice of him and continued its search. Max watched for a moment before returning to his tent, feeling braver than ever. "I did it," he whispered to himself as he crawled back into his sleeping bag. "I'm a real adventurer." Before long, Max drifted into a peaceful sleep, dreaming of far-off galaxies and uncharted jungles, knowing that sometimes the greatest adventures happen right in your own backyard.
Taking a tour of a fire station or police station offers a unique glimpse into the daily operations and responsibilities of first responders. First, visitors are often greeted by a guide who provides an overview of the services offered by the station and their significance to community safety. At a fire station, the tour typically begins in the garage area where fire trucks and ambulances are parked. Visitors can explore the various types of vehicles, each equipped with specialized tools for different emergencies. The guide may demonstrate how firefighters quickly don their gear when an alarm sounds, emphasizing the importance of speed and efficiency. Personal protective equipment and other gear are often on display, and the guide explains their roles in ensuring firefighter safety.
Park activities can transform your life.
Moving on, visitors might see the living quarters where firefighters stay during their shifts, including kitchens, bunk rooms, and common areas. This part highlights the sense of camaraderie and readiness that characterizes fire station life. Some tours also include a visit to the training facilities where firefighters practice their skills and engage in scenarios that simulate real-life emergencies. At a police station, the tour often begins at the reception area. Visitors are introduced to the different sections of the station, such as the detective department, the holding cells, and the evidence room. Guides explain the diverse roles within the police force, from patrol officers to specialized units like K-9 teams or SWAT. Participants might witness patrol cars and motorcycles, along with demonstrations of the equipment officers use, such as radios, body cameras, and forensic tools. A highlight of many police station tours is the communications center, where dispatchers handle emergency calls and coordinate responses with field officers. The guide often shares insights into how technology and human resources work together to maintain public safety. Additionally, visitors may see spaces used for community outreach programs, showcasing the station's role in building positive relationships with citizens.
هارترومينج يزيد احتقان الأنف 6 مرات أسرع من الحبوب ليساعدك على التنفس أفضل لغاية 12 ساعة. هارتروفين.
Lila had always loved art, but it wasn't until one sweltering summer day that she discovered her new favorite medium, ice pops. It began on an afternoon when the air was thick with heat and the sun seemed to have no intention of relenting. Her younger brother, Max, had left a rainbow-colored ice pop melting on the kitchen counter, creating a vibrant puddle of liquid sugar. That's when inspiration struck. What if she could use the melting ice pops as paint? In an instant, Lila ran to the freezer and pulled out an assortment of ice pops in every imaginable color. She laid down a large sheet of thick white paper on the wooden deck outside and started experimenting. She held a red ice pop and let a drop fall onto the paper, watching as it soaked in and bled outwards. She started swirling it around, mixing in yellow and blue, creating shades of purple and green. It was like watching a watercolor painting come to life in an entirely unexpected way. Her brother, Max, noticed and ran over, fascinated. He quickly grabbed a few ice pops and joined in. They spent the afternoon in a colorful frenzy, their fingers sticky but their spirits high. The heat that had seemed unbearable became a distant concern as they lost themselves in their impromptu art project. Soon, the whole deck was adorned with their vibrant creations. Their mother, initially baffled by the mess, couldn't help but smile at their ingenuity. She took pictures and sent them to family and friends, who responded with nothing but awe. Lila and Max had inadvertently started a mini trend. Neighbors dropped by to see the colorful artworks and some were inspired to try it with their own kids. Local craft stores even began offering DIY ice pop painting kits.
The rain had turned the entire schoolyard into a slippery threat, but to the children it was an invitation. The central feature of their spontaneous playground was the old wooden balance beam. Today, it glistened under the steady drizzle, curves and dents exaggerated by the wetness. Joey was the first to suggest the challenge, crossing the beam from was known for his a daredevil in every sense. His curly hair and wide grin were as much trademarks of his personality as his audacity. Next came Sarah, the planner of the group. She always considered all the contingencies, even in this case, making sure they had a soft landing spot prepared. Several layers of jackets and sweaters borrowed from unsuspecting classmates. The third member of their band was Max, the quiet thinker. He usually refrained from these wild ideas but always had a trick up his sleeve. Today, he seemed particularly contemplative, observing every child's attempt with eagle-eyed attention. Jen, the last to join, was every bit a skeptic. Her cautious nature made her the least likely to try such feats, yet she stayed out of camaraderie and to call for help if anything went wrong. One by one, the children gave it a go. Joey sprinted and, unsurprisingly, flew off the beam, landing in the soft pile of clothes and laughing hysterically. Sarah was more methodical.
inching her way carefully but still found herself on the wet ground before reaching halfway. Max had a secret trick though, his shoes. They had rubber soles, gripping better than others. With delicate precision, he managed to cross 3/4 of the beam before a sudden gust of wind sealed his fate, toppling him off balance. Then it was Jen's turn. She hesitated but finally stepped onto the wet beam, knees shaking, eyes fixed forward. Her skepticism told her she would fall, but something else, a fleeting sense of what if, compelled her to try. One slow step after another, she advanced. Max, Joey, and Sarah watched in bated breath. Even if she fell, she was already proving them wrong. Inch by inch, she shuffled along, and then, against odds and expectations, she made it to the end. Cheers erupted as she stood there, rain soaking her but victorious. For once, even the most cautious among them had dared the impossible, and that made it all the more worth it. On a calm and sunny afternoon by the old Oakville pond, Sam and Emily found themselves immersing in one of their favorite pastimes, conducting whimsical experiments. Sam, with his wiry frame and perpetually curious demeanor, had brought along a collection of random objects. Emily, meticulous and ever analytical, was excited for the challenge ahead. Today's endeavor had a simple yet oddly intriguing question at its core: will it float? They laid out various items: a wooden spoon, a rubber duck, a metal spoon, a plastic bottle, and a stone. First up was the wooden spoon. Sam held his breath as he gently placed it onto the water's surface. It bobbed gracefully. "Floats," he exclaimed with a wide grin. Emily jotted down notes in her little science journal, detailing the observation. Next was the rubber duck. Without much suspense, it floated cheerfully, riding the tiny ripples between the reeds. Emily couldn't help but laugh, imagining the duck in an actual bathtub. "Another floater," Sam shouted gleefully. Now came the turn of the metal spoon. Both leaned in closer as Sam dropped it in. With a satisfying plunk, it disappeared beneath the surface, joining the depths of the murky pond. "Sinker," Emily declared, scribbling away. The plastic bottle was a predictable floater, bobbing lightly, mocking the seriousness of their experiment. Finally, they arrived at the stone. It was smooth and gray, with an almost imperceptible sheen.
Building an igloo, a traditional snow house, requires methodical steps and a bit of practice. Ideal snow for an igloo is hard-packed and dry. First, locate a flat area free of any vegetal debris. Use a snow saw or a knife to cut out blocks of snow, making each block approximately 30 inches long, 15 inches tall, and 8 inches thick. These dimensions can vary slightly based on needs. Begin laying the blocks in a circular formation, tilting them inward slightly to form a stable base. Complete the first layer to create a foundation. As you continue upward, gradually angle the blocks inward more for the dome shape. Use snow as mortar to fill gaps between the blocks. The key to a strong structure is a gradual inward tilt that leads to a closing top. After placing the final block, carve an entrance through the wall, making it large enough to pass through but small enough to retain warmth inside. You may also dig out a pit inside the entrance to serve as a cold trap. Smooth and patch any interior gaps with loose snow to prevent drafts. Traditional igloos use clear ice or a piece of thin, solid snow for a window. Placing a small air vent is also crucial to allow for safe air circulation inside. With careful planning and patience, building an igloo can be a rewarding experience, providing surprisingly solid shelter from harsh winter conditions.
The vibrant town of Meadowville was buzzing with excitement as the annual bike parade approached. This year, the theme was harmony in colors, and everyone was thrilled to showcase their decorated bikes and creative outfits. The key organizer, a spirited woman named Clara, had been planning this event for months. She was known throughout the town for her boundless energy and her knack for bringing people together. Clara's bike was a masterpiece of bright colors and intricate patterns, embodying the theme perfectly. On the morning of the parade, the town square was a hive of activity. Families, friends, and solo riders arrived with bikes adorned with streamers, balloons, and artful designs. Timmy, a young boy with a passion for dinosaurs, had transformed his bike into a roaring T-Rex. Maria, the local artist, had painted hers with a mesmerizing sunset that seemed to glow. Clara kicked off the event with a warm welcome and a few words about community and creativity. As the parade began, the streets filled with laughter, music, and the ringing of bike bells. The route wound through the scenic parts of the town, highlighting Meadowville's natural beauty. There was a friendly competition for Best Decorated Bike, Most Creative Theme, and Best Group Presentation. Judges, including the town's mayor, assessed the participants with joyful enthusiasm. As the parade reached its climax at the town park, everyone gathered for a community picnic. There were booths with food, games for kids, and live music. The winners of the competition were announced. Timmy won Most Creative Theme. Maria received Best Decorated Bike. And a group of high school friends who had created a synchronized dance routine on their bikes claimed Best Group Presentation. The parade ended on a high note with fireworks lighting up the evening sky, leaving the townspeople with hearts full of joy and a sense of togetherness. The Grand Bike Parade was not just an event. It was a celebration of Meadowville's spirit, bringing harmony and color into everyone's life.
When Jennifer received the email about the Freezy Tees contest, she was immediately intrigued. Freezy Tees, known for their quirky and creative t-shirt designs, was hosting a design competition where the winning entry would get their artwork featured on the next line of t-shirts. Additionally, the winner would receive a year's supply of Freezy Tees and a cash prize. Jennifer, a graphic designer who had a knack for playful and imaginative designs, knew this contest was a great opportunity for her. She had always admired Freezy T's innovative approach and thought this could be her chance to gain broader recognition in the design world. That evening, Jennifer discussed participating in the contest with her best friend, Mark. Mark, a talented illustrator himself, was genuinely excited by the idea and encouraged her to go for it. They brainstormed together, coming up with a list of potential design concepts that ranged from whimsical animals to abstract art. Mark suggested focusing on something that stood out and had a unique twist, as Freezy T's were known for their originality. Over the next few days, Jennifer poured her heart into designing. She sketched countless ideas, continuously refining them until she was satisfied. Finally, she settled on a concept that combined elements of nature with a touch of surrealism. Her final design was a lively, colorful scene featuring fantastical creatures in a whimsical forest setting. Artwork complete, Jennifer submitted her entry with a sense of hopeful anticipation. Weeks passed, and she nearly forgot about the contest amidst her busy schedule. Then, one day, an email notification caught her eye. She had won.
When I have a splitting headache, I reach for 2 tablets of Panadol Extra. For a fast relief from tough pain like headaches, toothache, and muscle pain. And I'm finally released from pain and ready to be there for my loved ones. Try Panadol Extra for a fast and effective relief of tough pain.
There was once a bustling city known for its innovation and quirky inventions. Among its multitude of attractions was the Human Car Wash, an eccentric yet wildly popular establishment. It wasn't your everyday spa or relaxation center, but rather a place where people came to experience a unique kind of cleanliness and fun. Sarah, an adventurous young woman with a taste for novelty, decided to visit the Human Car Wash on a whim. The building itself was an immense structure, with colorful lights, and an inviting sign boasting a gleaming figure luxuriating in soap bubbles. Sarah walked in, her curiosity piqued. Inside, she was greeted by a friendly attendant named Max, who explained the process with a grin. You'll go through a series of stages, just like a car wash, but designed for humans. Max's enthusiasm was infectious. The first stage was the pre-wash splash, where jets of warm water gently misted Sarah, making her smile. Next came the soft scrub, where rotating, foam-covered brushes caressed her skin. The sensation was oddly soothing, and the citrusy scent of the soap was invigorating. The rinse cycle followed, with cascading waterfalls that washed away the foam, leaving her feeling refreshed. Sarah laughed as she moved to the wax and buff station, where she was enveloped in a warm mist of moisturizing lotion. The final stage, the blow-dry finish, featured powerful yet gentle air jets that left her skin soft and dry. As Sarah exited, she felt rejuvenated and couldn't help but giggle at the absurdity and joy of the experience. Outside, she bumped into Max again, who asked how she found it. Amazing. It's like nothing I've ever done before, Sarah exclaimed. Max nodded knowingly. That's what everyone says. Spread the word. Sarah couldn't wait to tell her friends about the Human Car Wash. It wasn't just about getting clean, it was an adventure, a delightful escape from the mundane. The Human Car Wash became a staple visit for both locals and tourists, proving that even the simplest activities can be transformed into memorable experiences with a bit of creativity and fun.
It was a chilly autumn morning in